The recent statement from Napheesa Collier calling out WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert for the league's lack of accountability has rightfully made waves. Not only around the basketball community, but all major sports, as a lot of what she commented on is prevalent for many of these leagues. But most notably to me was when Napheesa was recalling a chat she had with the commissioner, bringing up the question as to why players like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Beckers are being paid so little for their first few years in the league. This being despite the fact that they are major reasons as to why the league has seen such a massive spike in viewership and therefore monetary gain. To which Cathy allegedly responded saying that those players were lucky to play in the WNBA and have that platform, claiming that players should be thanking their lucky stars that she was able to secure the media rights deal for them. Which obviously isn't even close to the reality that fans are going to the games to watch the players on the court, not to see what the commissioner has done with the league. We want to see the stars, not just Caitlin, Angel, and Paige, but all of the rest of the players that were already gaining momentum before those three arrived, almost doubling their finals viewership in just 3 years alone. But it's that exact willful ignorance in pursuit of more money from professional sports league leaders, and also the networks that present us the game, that I'm going to focus on in this video. Because whether it's Adam Silver cracking jokes while saying that fans who can't afford to watch games on all of these new streaming services should just watch highlights on TikTok, or the MLB trying to frame the pitch clock and shorten games as a change made for fans, when in reality it just conveniently packages these games into neat 2.5-hour blocks that are easier to sell to TV networks. The through line is always going to be the same. The interest of fans and players are far from the top of the priority lists of these league leaders. To understand this, all you need to do is look at how each league makes their money and see how it is the perfect example of how fans stopped becoming the main source of income for these leagues and franchises. They make billions from networks through media rights deals that can account for up to as much as 67% of the league's revenue, like in the case of the NFL. And therefore, these leagues will always tailor the games toward advertisers and networks, and not in ways that actually enhance the viewing experience or the experience of the players on the court or the field. So we'll go through league by league and break down the issues with each to truly understand how greed is killing professional sports. First of all, I should say that this is primarily a basketball channel, and really, I'm only a casual fan of baseball, football, and even hockey, so if there are any nuances about each league that I'm going to talk about that I'm missing, feel free to address those in the comments. With that out of the way, we'll start off with what is, in my opinion, the worst culprit of them all, the NBA. This offseason alone has really put a spotlight on the league and their greed. First, they started off with their announcement of the weekly national TV schedule, which only reminded fans that they now have to get 5 different subscriptions just for the national games. Then came Pablo Torre and his investigation into the Clippers, exposing one of the richest people in the entire world allegedly conducting the largest salary cap circumvention in professional sports history, which also included Adam Silver personally signing to give the Clippers permission to accept the company that they would use to circumvent the rules as a team sponsor. And then just recently, it was announced that Amazon Prime would be partnering with FanDuel to show live betting odds during the games. And even though this is a partnership with Amazon, the league still controls the rights to the games. So FanDuel would have to get permission from the NBA, which likely means that the league is getting a pretty good cut of the revenue as well. But the one thing that I think a lot of people don't talk about is the fact that every single one of Adam Silver's changes he's made to the league, like the play-ins, the NBA Cup, or his piss-poor attempts at fixing All-Star Weekend, are all just additional ways to sell more ad spots, package more games, or basically just more ways for the league to make even more money. The play-ins obviously are just extra games that can now be sold. The NBA Cup has already drawn in pretty sizable crowds to Vegas, with it being reported that the tournament generated around $53.1 million to the city of Las Vegas, to which the NBA would have saw a pretty decent chunk of through ticket and merchandise sales, not to mention the additional money they would have made off sponsors and broadcasting as well. And if you were to think back to this year's All-Star game, you'd probably remember that it was painfully long, and most of the reason for that was because of the thousands of commercials that were being shoved down our throats. And once again, Adam Silver has announced another new format that includes a round-robin style tournament that again is going to take just as long for still a subpar game, but surely will net the league plenty of money. And it should really also be mentioned that fans never asked for any of these changes. They don't benefit anyone, other than debatably the league, and they haven't solved any of the issues that Adam said that they would. The play-ins haven't curbed teams from tanking. In fact, it's pretty much been the exact same teams in the play-ins every single year. Seemingly, the only thing that it has accomplished is showing the Chicago Bulls what a little taste of postseason action might be like. The NBA Cup is stupid, with even stupider courts. As I mentioned, Adam Silver is already trying to cook up a new format for the All-Star Weekend, so very clearly that didn't work. So the only explanation for these changes is that the league was trying to make more money under the guise that they were trying to make the experience better for fans. Adam Silver has made it clear that his only goal as commissioner is to find more avenues that will help grow the league's financial influence. And yes, I do understand that is like one of the main goals of the job, but when it comes at the detriment to fans to the point where he all but calls us broke if we don't want to pay half a car payment every month just to watch our favorite team, then something's got to change. Now on to the MLB. First and foremost, for me, as a casual fan, one thing that I've noticed is how ridiculously expensive going to a ball game has gotten, even just in the last decade alone. Baseball's supposed to be America's game, a place where you're supposed to be able to bring the family and have a full day experience without breaking the bank. But now you're being priced out of even that, as tickets continue to rise along with the growing price of any food or drinks you want to get that are usually a ballpark classic. And now, as I mentioned before, that full day experience has been cut down dramatically. Again, supposedly this is for your benefit, but meanwhile you're paying more for the ticket to spend even less time at the actual ballpark, which you would say might cut into the league's concessions, but even that isn't true. A Duluth report in 2016 found that fans were spending an average of $24 per game in concessions and novelties for that season. Well, Mashkin conducted a similar report in 2024 that found that number had over doubled to $56 a game. The pitch clock shortening games has led to fans feeling more rushed at concession stands, which has led fans to overspend at the stand, thinking that they might as well just get 2 trips worth of snacks or drinks. Even trying to watch it from your own home can sometimes be a pain in the ass thanks to regional sports networks. Something that the NBA is actually pretty familiar with as well. These networks like Bally Sports and Sportsnet in Canada own the regional rights to games, which has meant that the family that I currently have living in America hasn't been able to watch one single Toronto Blue Jays game all season. Even if they were willing to pay for a Sportsnet subscription to watch the games, they wouldn't be able to, as Sportsnet Plus is regionally locked to Canada. But again, I should mention that I don't know a whole lot of the intricacies concerning the MLB and its leadership specifically, so I could be missing some more examples, but the ones that I listed are concerns that relate to all of the rest of the leagues, just turned up to its most extreme. And now on to the NFL, which in my opinion displays the most blatant examples of greed slowly ruining a professional sports league. Just recently, Pablo Torre once again made another groundbreaking discovery, but this time on the NFL, as Pablo was able to uncover arbitration documents between the NFL and their Players Association that accused the league and Roger Goodell of overseeing a council that was allowing and even encouraging owners to collude against players getting guaranteed money on their contracts. This all started after some NFL owners kicked up a big fuss over the Browns giving Deshaun Watson a $230 million contract. And no, they weren't mad that the Browns paid $230 million to a guy with almost as many accusations as Harvey Weinstein. It was because that money was guaranteed. That Deshaun Watson contract all led to a 2022 meeting between owners and a league council that is at the heart of the case the NFLPA put against the league. In these arbitration findings that Pablo uncovered, there were even emails between the executive VP of the NFL, Jeff Pash, and Commissioner Goodell, in which Goodell really expressed his concern over guaranteed contracts, quote-unquote, eroding the fabric of the CBA, also mentioning that his concern should be raised during that 2022 owners' meeting. The arbitration also uncovered texts between Chargers owner Dan Spanos and Cardinals owner Michael Bidwell, where Dan was praising the Kyler Murray signing, saying that the deal the Cardinals gave Murray will help the Chargers sign their quarterback next year. And of course, in 2023, the Chargers signed Herbert for $263 million, with around the same percentage guaranteed that was given to Kyler Murray a year earlier. There's also been a lot of suspicion around Lamar Jackson's contract dispute with the Ravens a few years ago, as he was searching for guaranteed money, and suspiciously, it seemed like no other team in the league even wanted to go near him, despite him being one of the best prospects in the league at the time. This was so suspicious that there are plenty of fan theories that popped up well before Pablo uncovered these documents. But the evidence for colluding against Lamar isn't as cut and dry as text messages or emails, so really this is just allegedly alleged. Aside from the league being greedy against its own players, there is also the borderline abuse the league and teams show their most loyal fans. As anyone who's tried to jump through the hoops to get season tickets in the NFL knows exactly how greedy this league can be. First, you have to manage to get off the wait list, something that can be literally a lifelong task within itself, as the Green Bay Packers had to make a rule allowing people to pass their wait list spot to their kids because they've been waiting there so long. Then, in many cases, once you have done that, you have to pay for a personal seat license, which I know kind of sounds like the season tickets themselves, but no, that's just the fee that gives you the ability to buy the season tickets. And the price for those personal seat licenses, or PSLs, can range anywhere from $750 to $50,000. Then you actually got to buy the tickets themselves, and once the season's over, you got to turn around and pay another fee just to renew your PSL. If you don't do that, then you're on the hook to pay that PSL again if you want to get season tickets in the future. All said and done, the average season for a season ticket holder might range in the tens of thousands of dollars. And again, this is how they treat their most loyal fan base. So what does it all mean, and how is it all connected? Well, it means that the system that we live in causes more and more people to try and become middlemen or another link in the ever-growing chain of revenue that comes from fans just wanting to watch the best athletes from around the world participate in their respective sport. And as we, the fans, get further and further removed from being the league's main revenue source, the further the average fan will be pushed out. Very much proven by the NFL, who by far have the lowest revenue split coming from fans and debatably treat their fans the worst. Also, the more middlemen that get put in between us and the league also means that our dollar carries less power. Think about it. If you're paying for all of these subscriptions, then you gotta cancel every separate subscription, and suddenly your protest isn't as central, and the league or all of these networks might not even notice you canceling your subscription. And as more and more of these networks get introduced, you're losing more and more of the power that comes from a centralized focus of protest. In fairness, there are some leagues and teams that are making attempts to help alleviate the financial burden on fans by creating a direct-to-consumer model that allows fans to purchase a subscription directly from a team that makes it a lot cheaper. Overall, outside of just straight-up protesting, I don't have an answer on how to solve all of these issues, but it is important for fans to be aware of these issues before things get way too far out of hand.